Welcome to Awakening You channel. If you appreciate what we do, please support us. Thank you. Enlightenment through service is not a new idea. It has existed for thousands of years as karma yoga, the spiritual path of enlightenment through right action. The difference is, today, the necessary frequency of consciousness has become readily available to everyone as the quantum leap to a spiritually based revolution in consciousness has just happened. I have long been intrigued by ancient teachings which claim that a higher form of service to others is a fast track to spiritual enlightenment. The Bhagavad Gita, for example, states quite clearly that, while selfish work produces karmic bondage, unselfish work leads to nirvana. That's quite a promise, that a higher form of service is a spiritual path that leads all the way to the ultimate state of consciousness. After wondering why this should be for over 50 years of unrelenting metaphysical curiosity, the answer finally clicked. First, I asked what could be meant by a higher form of service. Obviously, servitude is not the answer. Servitude is a lower form of work where the person is compelled to labor at activity in which they had no creative part. Service given with a higher motivation, as it turns out, is a fast track to spiritual enlightenment. Astoundingly, being an active practice, it can be 10 times more effective than time spent in passive forms of meditation. The key to this fast track to enlightenment and insightful living is to perform work from the new, enlightened basis of consciousness. Now, let's see what that means by comparing the kind of work or service activity that occurs at that and the other different levels of consciousness. Frequencies of consciousness used in service conformist stage work carried out with this basic mindset could better be called servitude. In this state of consciousness, people feel compelled to do disagreeable work in exchange for money to support their basic life functions. Supervisors are tasked with providing the motivation for workers to perform adequately. Workers watch the clock, waiting each day for the time to arrive for release from their drudgery. Intellectual stage: this is typically creative professional or entrepreneurial work based on a self-focused motivation for status and wealth. While performance is self-motivated, not imposed upon them, the person may still not like their work, in which case their goal may then be to amass enough wealth to retire early and quit working as soon as possible, as in the financial independence retire early movement. The best way to survive and thrive within this stage is to avoid its tendency toward the double-edged sword of aggressive competition. In a free marketplace, if you produce high-quality goods or services at a fair price, customers will like you and keep coming back. Communal stage: a person slips into this level of consciousness while being absorbed in work they like doing. In this state of flow of consciousness, time seems to slip by unnoticed. As a result, they become highly skilled in their chosen activity and therefore produce high-quality work, which increases the value of their service to society. The beginnings of heart-centered consciousness can also add social meaning to one's work, amplifying its value in raising the person's frequency of consciousness. Enlightened stage: this stage of active heart-centered consciousness brings service as love in action. A polarity switch occurs between the previous stage and this stage of heart-motivated service to others. Heart-centered service is the polar opposite of servitude. The more time you spend active in this stage, the more enlightenment dawns within your mind and your understanding of life increases exponentially. This is why this stage of service, love in action, is 10 times more effective in developing enlightenment than passive meditation.